He was trying to let me know it's over, wrong. I just couldn't figure it out at the time.
Grief and despair from the parents and grandparents of two victims, apparently the casualties of a domestic fight.
Says a mother and son were shot and killed before their mobile home was set on fire near Wash Drive. Firefighters discovered the bodies of 36-year-old Zina Williams.
Just after 9 p.m. on October 9th, the Scott County Sheriff's Office responded to a house fire at a home on Wash Drive near Forest, Mississippi. Upon closer inspection of the scene, detectives would locate the deceased bodies of an adult female and a young boy.
A Forest mother and her 7-year-old son are killed and their mobile home set on fire. As of this afternoon, the suspect is in police custody. James Fulgham was arrested in Lauderdale County earlier today. That shooting happened last night at a mobile home on Wash Drive near Forest. Sheriff Mike Lee says 36-year-old Zina Williams was shot once in the head, and her son, 7-year-old Zacchesius Williams, was shot multiple times.
The victims were identified as 46-year-old Zina Williams and her 8-year-old son, who were both sadly pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities would quickly discover that the fire was used to conceal the true cause of death. Zina died from a single gunshot wound to the head, while her son suffered multiple gunshot wounds all over his body. Witnesses described seeing a man fleeing the scene in Zina's gray Honda Accord. The male was quickly identified as Zina's boyfriend and co-worker, 31-year-old James Fulgham of Meridian, Mississippi. The two were involved in a heated exchange earlier that day while at work, leading investigators to believe that this may have caused a subsequent tragic chain of events. Fulgham lived with Zina, who recently moved to the mobile home from Lake Mississippi. The murder of Zina and her son are the first murders of the year in the normally quiet neighborhood, leaving family and residents shocked, angry, and confused. How could anyone prey on an innocent child? What really happened inside of the home that night? Neighbors describe hearing a small altercation followed by the sounds of gunshots.
He was trying to let me know it's over, wrong. I just couldn't figure it out at the time.
Grief and despair from the parents and grandparents of two victims, apparently the casualties of a domestic fight. Late Tuesday afternoon, authorities captured 31-year-old James Fulgham, the reported boyfriend of Zina Williams. A stunned Scott County community huddled around what was left of her home earlier in the day.
This is a small neighborhood. Everybody know everybody. So it just don't affect the family. It affect the friends of the family, school teachers. This is an 8-year-old child.
State fire marshal's investigators were poring over the remnants of the burned-out home where Williams and her 8-year-old son Zacchesius Williams were at first thought to have died because of the fire, but later discovered to have been shot and killed, the mom once, the boy multiple times.
So it looked like just from the preliminary that the child may have heard the gunshot, may have gotten scared, may have hollered, and then became a victim himself.
Sheriff Mike Lee says the case is just beginning to be pieced together. Witnesses say Fulgham was seen leaving the home in Zina Williams' Honda Accord.
This is the first murder we've had here in over a year, and in this case it's a double murder, and then you pack that on with, your heart goes out to any victim of a violent crime, but then when you see a child, it's really hard to understand why somebody would prey on a child like that.
Friends and family are still trying to get answers to that question.
I am definitely finna be pushing the state of Mississippi for the death penalty on these people that's committing crime. This guy don't deserve to be among the living.
Investigators say they did recover ballistic evidence in that home, and they are trying to work through it as the perpetrator clearly set that home on fire, trying to cover his tracks.
We started doing more inquiry and found out that there was that she had a boyfriend that lived there with her. We were able to obtain his name, James Fulgham of Meridian, Mississippi.
The suspect, James Fulgham, was arrested in Lauderdale County on Tuesday.
We located a previous address for their suspect. We sent some investigators out, utilizing some technology. We were able to make the determination that a vehicle that was also being looked for was in a wooded area in a close proximity to a recent residence that he had lived in. We were in the process of setting up surveillance on that residence when Fulgham was observed leaving that residence.
This is our first murder investigation of this year. We've dealt with children and adults alike, but you never get used to it. That it's not something that occurs, and it's definitely not only just shocking to the community when something like this happens. It's pretty much shocking to the deputies and the fire personnel that had responded out there.
Police would quickly announce the arrest of 31-year-old James Fulgham, who was taken into custody the very next day in Lauderdale County. He is being charged with 2 counts of capital murder and 1 count of arson and could face additional charges. Investigators are working with the district attorney's office to determine if Fulgham will face additional charges. The motive for the double shooting is still undetermined, and the case remains ongoing.